The backbone of Don Reevy's team was gradually dissected. Some familiar faces remained, but Hunter, Bremner and Giles moved on. Leeds reached 2 cup semi-finals, but success in the league proved elusive, and Jimmy Armfield was replaced by the legendary former Celtic manager, Jock Stein. Barely had he taken his seat than he was off to manage Scotland, leaving Leeds in the lurch again. Jimmy Adamson, a surprise choice, failed to set pulses racing and perished after 2 seasons. So Leeds looked backwards to find their future. Alan Clark, the first of 3 cornerstones of the Reevy era, to occupy the manager's chair.
Oh, the chance of an early strike for Leeds. Barnes' corner. Hart's in. The header's there. Across the goal. A chance for Wilkinson. What a start! Oh, what a start!
But star names and flash goals weren't enough, and unthinkably, Leeds were relegated to the 2nd division.
There was a lot of players I felt in the dressing room felt that we were too good to go down, and that's never the case if you don't work hard enough.
It was Eddie Gray himself who had to rescue the club from the 2nd division and from crippling debts.
When I took over in '82, the club hadn't a lot of money, and I was told in no uncertain terms that we hadn't a lot of money, and some of the big earners would have to go. We had a few decent young players at the club, and, you know, took a decision, and we were just going to go with them. But that probably cost me my job at the end of the day, because we'd probably too many young players.
I don't think we played well, never mind as a team. You know, says that, we never played well.
Then it was the turn of Billy Bremner to try to match ambition with achievement. Could a great captain become a great manager? With finances uppermost in the board's mind, Bremner's job went from difficult to impossible. The loss of an FA Cup semi-final to Coventry couldn't delay his departure, and even old teammates were made to suffer.
I came back and rung up, actually Billy was the manager at the time, and I rung up my son, who'd never really, they were too young, the kids, been able to go to the matches, said he'd like to go to the match. I said, I'll ring up and get a couple of tickets, and I rung up. There was no problem with the tickets, but you would have to pay for them. So obviously I was very, very disappointed.
With no money and no success, Leeds finally turned their backs on Reevy's legacy and embraced a new approach, Howard's way.
My main job now is to get Leeds United away from the foot of the 2nd division and eventually get them into the 1st division.
Howard Wilkinson arrived at Leeds with a clear vision of what was needed. He can still recall his sales pitch to the chairman.
The supporters of this football club will never be happy unless it has aspirations to win the 1st Division Championship. If it's not got aspirations like that, people are going to get disenchanted, you're going to have an unhappy club. No matter how long we say we're going to take to get there, we have to tell them, and we have to mean it, that we're going to get there.
Wilkinson needed a leader on the pitch. His version of Billy Bremner was also a flame-haired Scot.
I needed a captain to whom I could relate very closely, who was ambitious, who could play, who was inspirational, and willing to take responsibility.
Howard gave me what I was looking for, that I probably didn't realise I was looking for, that the responsibility, real responsibility. And he said my job was to get this team back in the Premiership. And I thought that's fantastic, because that's shown great faith in me, and it's what I was needing, to be honest with you. It's what I was needing at that time.
The initial dividend on the Wilkinson investment was the 2nd Division title in 1990. After 8 years in the wilderness, Leeds were back where they'd always felt they belonged.
It was a massive, massive season that for Leeds United, and you know, back in the big time where they belong. They've been out of it for far too long through many different reasons, but it was a platform, a springboard to the later success that we enjoyed.
Wilkinson relied heavily on fitness and unity. The players he brought together enjoyed each other's company off the pitch as well as on.
John McClellan was funny just because he wore funny gear. Mel Stillen was just funny. John Henry was funny because he thought he was funny, but he wasn't funny. All good character. Good character. I liked them. I really enjoyed that year. That year that we got promoted. That was one of the most enjoyable years of my career. Good bunch of lads.
But the player the crowd really loved was the notorious hard man Vinny Jones. They fell for him, lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels.
He didn't cause me any problems at all. Not major. He became a fan's favourite. That's a certainty. He became a very, very, very useful and probably invaluable member of the club and the team. In retrospect, I shouldn't have let him go when I did.
Obviously Howard let him go, and that was his decision. I think the fact that Vinny walked into his office with a shotgun one day didn't help matters too much.
I think it's right you find that he didn't get suspended while he played for us. It was something like 1 booking or something like that, because we told him early on. Because I said to him, look, I'm getting near 33, 34 here. I think I'm going to run a book with 10 men. It's not on. You behave yourself and stay in the park.
The penultimate game of that season saw Leeds at home to Leicester City, needing to win to stay on track and ahead of close rivals Sheffield United and Newcastle. But with 6 minutes left, they were being held 1-1 and needed inspiration.
Sterling, again it'll be towards Chapman, headed out, and now McAllister back from Strachan. Here's Strachan again! Have you ever seen a better goal? And have you ever seen one better time?
It's the only piece of memorabilia I've got in my house. If you come to my house, you wouldn't think I played football, but I do have a painting of that celebration that go on, tucked away in a study somewhere. But only I can see. People who come to my house, and I don't invite many people to my house, but they can't see it anyway. It's only in my study. It's just there, just to make me happy.
On the final day of the season, 6,000 Leeds supporters descended on Bournemouth. Only 2,000 had tickets. A recipe for trouble.
The Bournemouth thing was an administrative disaster in many respects. Everything about it, down there, bank holiday, given the club we were, given the position in the league we were likely to be in, the temperature, the roads, the this, the that.
The club's job is to protect the players from that kind of outside influence that might affect the game. So we were protected from that to a great extent. There was a kind of a sort of an occasion feel about the whole weekend, and we knew that what was lying on that, resting on that game. It was a massive game, probably one of the biggest games in Leeds United's history, for 15 years before that.
Leeds needed a victory to secure promotion and the second division championship. They got it thanks to a typically thunderous header from Lee Chapman.
I was taking it on because, as I said to you, it was the first time somebody really said to me, your job is to get promoted, this is your job. The other clubs had been they just went with the flow, whatever happened, happened. But I just sat there, and it was a lovely evening, and I just sat there, and I don't think I had a drink, to be honest with you. I may have, but I doubt it very much.